Welcome to the Full-Time FBA Show. In each episode, it's our goal to help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income selling almost anything on Amazon. And now, your hosts of the show, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. We're on episode number 203, and this week we're going to be talking about how to transition from sourcing OneOffs to sourcing Replens for lasting success in your Amazon FBA business. Stephen, welcome to the show, my co-host, as always. What are you thinking about this topic today?
I like Replens. Replens are like the life source of your Amazon business. The more replens that you can get, the longer lasting success you can experience. And so I love talking about this. Let's get to it.
If you've been listening to our podcast for almost any amount of time, we always are reminding you that focusing on finding and reselling replens is one of the best ways to set yourself up for long-term success as an Amazon seller. And if you're brand new to the podcast, then please know, focusing on finding and reselling replens is one of the best ways to set yourself up for long-term success as an Amazon seller.
You should repeat yourself.
I think we got it by now.
Okay.
If we haven't, go back and listen to that. Anyway, replen is short for replenishable. And basically it means any inventory item that you can buy multiples of again and again and sell again and again. It's called replenishable because when you start to sell out, you can just go back to the source and replenish your inventory on a consistent basis. We go deep on that topic of replens in episodes 88 and 89, so be sure and check those out, fulltimefba.com/88 or 89. So we're not going to do that here. We're not going to go in depth on that topic, but what we are going to focus on today is how to transition from sourcing one-offs to instead sourcing replens.
Yeah, most Amazon sellers, when they first start off selling on Amazon, they start growing their Amazon business, usually only source or buy one-off items. And the term one-off means done once and not repeated. So in relation to selling on Amazon, a one-off item means sourced and sold once with no replenishing your inventory. And so you can see how if you're only sourcing one-off items to sell on Amazon, just how tiring and exhausting that could be. Always having to keep searching for the next one-off item to sell. And so don't get me wrong, buying and selling one-offs, that's a great way to get started with your Amazon business. It's a great way to learn about all the different product categories on Amazon as you're selling different items all the time. And we've told you before that each Amazon category has its own personality when it comes to how it works with sales ranks within the category, how returns work within each category, and so on. And so starting your Amazon business with one-offs, that's a great strategy for the beginning, but it's not the best strategy if you're wanting to have that long-term lasting success as an Amazon seller, and we assume you do. So that leads us to our topic for today. How can Amazon sellers transition from selling one-offs to selling more and more replens?
Well, first you need to know where to find replens. It's almost easier to tell you where not to look for replens than to tell you where. So again, a replen is an item you can find multiples of on a consistent basis to source again and again that will sell again and again. A replen is something that you'll be purchasing multiples of, which is also called going deep on an item. So, Stephen, would you usually find replens at a garage sale?
Nope. Garage sales, thrift stores, or estate sales for that matter, they're only going to provide you one-off items. You're not going to be able to replenish your stuff that you get at a garage sale, thrift store, or estate sale.
What about the clearance section of a retail store? Can you find replens there?
Not really. While you may be able to find an item to go deep on to buy from clearance section one time, once it's gone, it's gone. You're not going to be able to go back to that same clearance aisle and replenish those items at all. The store's not going to restock those items. They're clearancing out. They're trying to get rid of them. So there's not going to be any way that you can go back and keep buying and replenishing those items once you sell out of your stock.
Yes, full-priced replens are out there. Items you buy at regular price at retail stores, online stores, and other strategies where you can buy at regular price to sell for 3x, 4x, or more on Amazon. Again, we go deep on the topic of replens on episodes 88 and 89, so be sure and check those out.
So are we saying that everyone should just drop one-offs? No more one-off sourcing cut it cold turkey and focus 100% on finding replens? No, that's not what we're saying. That's not how to run a business. Here at Full-Time FBA, we want to best set you up for success. So please know that when you are wanting to transition to replens, you're going to need to slowly pivot your Amazon business away from sourcing those one-offs to more replens, because finding replens, it's a much slower and time-intensive process. And you're still going to need those one-off items to keep yourself profitable while you're making that transition. So we would suggest that you continue to source one-off items about half the time and then source replens the other half of the time. And as you start to add and find more replens, you'll start to adjust the amount of time that you source one-offs and the amount of time that you source replens from being a little bit less of the one-off sourcing and more of the replen sourcings. And then and so on, and continue to do that until you're almost always sourcing replens.
And the great thing about replens is that many of them can last you for years, meaning that when you find a replen, you might have just found an inventory item that you'll buy again and again to sell again and again for months or even years. As an example, we're still selling some replens that we first discovered 8 years ago. That's a long time in the Amazon selling world. Yes. We found the replen one time 8 years ago and have been able to sell it for a profit every month since then. Now, not all replens will last that long, but I would expect most replens, if sourced correctly, could last you around 12 months to 3 years on average. That's what we have found in our own inventory.
Yeah.
So some of them might be less than that, but some of them will also be more than that.
Yeah, and this is how you find the long-term lasting success on Amazon. Finding multiple replens that you can sell on Amazon, then easily reorder once you start to sell out. Then sell those on Amazon again month after month, and you get the drift. You get the repetition and the cycle that we got going here. And we've got so much more to share with you on the topic of replens, and we put it into a course called The Reseller's Guide to Replenishables. Find profitable Amazon inventory to sell again and again. Plus, as a podcast perk, we have a limited time coupon code that you can save some money on this course. The course is a combination video course and PDF ebook that outlines and shows you all the different types of items that could be possibly replens, how to find the replens, how to know if a replen is a long-lasting replen, and other tips and strategies to make the most of this replen strategy. Like we said earlier, the process of replen sourcing is much slower and more time-intensive process than sourcing these one-offs. And so this course will help you avoid the mistakes, learn multiple replen sourcing strategies, and fast forward your journey toward more and more replen sourcing. Plus, there's one strategy that I call the zombie replen that has the potential to put thousands more of profits into your pocket. I think that strategy alone is worth the cost of the course. Speaking of cost, here's a limited time coupon code that will save you some money. You can go to fulltimefba.com/replens. Use the code REPLEN30 and save $30 off the cost of the course as a podcast perk for you listening today.
Okay, so fulltimefba.com/replens will take you to the course, and then you can use the code REPLEN30, REPLEN30, to save $30 off the cost of that course. And replens really are the backbone of a successful Amazon business. So we hope now that you're equipped to transition, and do that slowly, remember, to fewer one-off items and to more and more replens for a longer lasting, successful Amazon business. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. As always, we have the show notes and the transcript for you at fulltimefba.com/203. And you'll find the links there at those show notes to other podcast episodes and resources that we've mentioned. And you'll also find that link for the course and the coupon code.
And just a quick reminder, if you're listening to this on the day the podcast drops, there's still a few days left to enter our review contest. Just go to your favorite podcast player, find the Full-Time FBA Show. You're probably there right now. And leave us a review. Take a screenshot of the review and send that screenshot to me at Stephen@fulltimefba.com. That's STEPHEN at fulltimefba.com, and you will enter the contest. So the contest ends after August 31st, so be sure you have that entry done and taken care of and emailed to me sometime before September 1st, because September 1st, we will be notifying those who win the prizes. We got Amazon gift cards, we've got Amazon water bottles, we've got some fun stuff for those who enter and win the contest. So next week, we're going to talk about strategies for creating a high productivity schedule specifically for Amazon sellers. So if you want to be more productive in your Amazon business, come back next week for the Full-Time FBA Show.
That's all for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. So head over to fulltimefba.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes and links from this episode. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter where you'll get several free downloads of our popular and helpful Amazon FBA resources. Now, take action on what you've learned today so you can find success at turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA.